Hey, welcome to another Valley Forged. Today I'm talking again about the LaserMATIC mk2. I have the 3010 watt version. And as promised, I was going to come back and I was going to do some testing. Not only to see, is there a difference between switching from 10 watts to 30 watts? You know, what can it cut? How does it work? Can you cut 3/4 inch plywood? Why would you even want to try that? Well, I did because I needed to. And so there are rare exceptions, rare reasons why you may need to cut something very thick, and it can be done. Now, if you're going to do anything like 1/2 inch on it, I'm just going to get right into it. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be doing everything with the LaserMATIC mk2 just because, hey, it's the laser I wanted. I begged the company for it. I was like, this is, in my opinion, about the best there is right now. And I went over all of that in the last video, so go check this out. Today is just testing. And I don't do testing like everybody else. The important thing to me, and I'll try and bring up pictures whenever I'm talking about something or video, is can I use it? I have a laser business. You know, I do this for a living. And sure, I love reviewing lasers. I'm going to do way less this year. I'm only going to work with maybe 4, 5 companies. I did a best and worst video not too long ago. And I'm trying to stick with the best companies. And, you know, first one on my mind was Roly LaserMATIC. I'm a big fan of Rich, Louisiana hobby guy, and he loves it. And hey, I was sold. And here's what it can do. All right. My number one seller is this Lord's Prayer cross. I mean, it's not even close. Like, there are some shows where I did a show last year, 2022, and I made a bunch and I brought them and they all sold out of the first day. So I did this show again here just November, and I made 4 times as many. Because I was like, okay, I'm not going to sell out this year. I'm going to have enough. And I still sold out on the first day. And I had all kinds of variations of it. I had some that were in frames. I had some that had stands. I had some that you just hung up on the wall. Every single one that I had gone. And so the next day, yes, I brought I brought way more product than I could possibly think to sell. I still sold almost everything. But those Lord's Prayer crosses, to make a short story long, are a super good seller. And I sell I teach you how to make it, and I sell it on my Etsy. That's also my number one seller on Etsy. That and my leather wallets. So this is something that I have to be able to make. And I have to every single time. Now, this is one of the most difficult files. It's a great one for testing your laser. Not can it cut it. Most all lasers can cut it. But can it cut it consistently? Where it comes out exactly the same every single time. Where you put a piece of wood in that laser, it's going to come out perfect. And you know it is, and you don't have a question. It's not going to stop halfway in between because of some stupid thing. There isn't going to be one little area that isn't cut out. I mean, this wood is not cheap. What I'm using here and showing you is true 6mm walnut 2-sided plywood with MDF core. And that's not cheap. You can look at it. I get my stuff from Craft Closet. Most of you know that. I'll put a link in the description for that as well. And I've made many videos about it. Well, because I want consistency, right? I make the same things and I need it to be consistent. And this laser, and I guess another rule that I have, and I'm going to be winded on this because I want anybody who's thinking about getting a laser to think about these things. Right? And it depends on what you're going to use it for. But no matter who you are, you're going to want something consistent because wood is not cheap. If you're getting, well, your time is not cheap either. So even if you were getting your wood for free, you spend 30 minutes making a file and it 3 out of 4 times it doesn't cut all the way through. It's just not good. So you want something consistent, and this is why air is very important. That's why the way that this honeycomb bed is set up is so important. Now, some people got confused in my last video because I said there's nothing under the honeycomb. Well, of course, 3 inches below it or whatever is the base of the machine, the metal part, yes. But there is nothing directly below the honeycomb bed, and it doesn't move. So you know every single time exactly where it's going to cut. This not having anything below the honeycomb bed is something that I don't really see any other laser companies doing, and I think is really, really a game changer for many reasons. One, the little parts, they just fall right through the bottom, right? So it's pretty easy to clean up. Yes, that's really great. But the fact that there's nothing bouncing back up onto your wood makes it to where you have a very clean backside. And sometimes that's pretty important. Like if you're making these crosses that, yes, it's primarily the front that's important to see, but people will look at the back. And you don't want to have it all scarred up with laser stuff. Now I sand both sides, of course, because it does make it look a little better. But it really, really changes the amount of time that I have to do make into a project, right? And with lasers that I had before, even ones that are more powerful than this, I still had to spend time, knocking some little pieces out because it didn't cut quite all the way through in some spots. It's because it was very hard to get the laser honeycomb bed directly level with the laser. So even if there's just a tiny little variation, you might have a variation in how deep it cuts. So I'm going to go on about this honeycomb. I'm sorry, but it's important because if maybe you're setting up your own laser and it's not the mk2, getting that whole thing level is very, very important. And it's going to cost you if you don't. So this is already done. The honeycomb bed fits into the spot. The third reason why, and I'll probably come up with more, why having this up above everything is so important is airflow. When you're cutting and the air is on, all of that smoke just goes right through the bottom. There's nothing holding it. Like if you have a metal sheet underneath your honeycomb bed, that's blocking the airflow. So this is just brilliant in so many ways. It isn't something I thought about when I, begged for this machine when, I already loved it. I already loved everything about it. Almost, which you go back and look at my other, what I like and what I don't like. But that wasn't part of my deal. And that has become one of, if not my favorite thing about the whole laser. At first, I was a little like, because the little honeycombs are a little bigger than I'm used to. Because I would use like things the little things that work on your car, like the tabs that go for your upholstery and stuff like that. Those generally work on a honeycomb bed and they help you, hold your material down. And I really like using those. Well, these holes are too big for that. And so at first I was kind of like disappointed because I liked using those instead of magnets. But it does increase the airflow so much and it leaves a lot less space to get flashback. So it's a trade-off. But so far, because I'm getting such consistent work, that it is really worth it. I think they really thought about what they were doing when they made this. And I appreciate that. The fact that it goes to the same exact spot every time. Now, I'm going to get into that when I get into the engraving part. But sometimes when if you do an engrave and it's too light, you literally can just run it again. It will go the exact same spot. Exactly. So you won't even be able to tell if you redid it on another one. and doubled the power, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's that exact. And that's really important. And I think that's because they have the linear bearings and the way everything's set up, and the fact that the honeycomb doesn't move at all. But I'm going to say that's the reason why I would say this is better than a lot of other lasers, is just the consistency. To me, 300 and 100, so 300 millimeters per minute and 100% power, is the slowest that I'm willing to go. There's a rare times where I may go 280, 240 millimeters per minute just for something specific, something that I know doesn't catch on fire. But I feel like it's just not safe to go anywhere below 300 millimeters per minute. You know, you get flare-ups, you get, that charcoal edge. I would rather do more passes and then lower the amount of speed. And I'll show you that when I show you cutting out that 3/4 inch plywood. Even though I was going 300 millimeters per minute with the air on, it still cooked it up a bit. And I'll just go into that right now. No, it won't do 3/4 inch plywood. I mean, yeah, if you do a ton of passes and you lower it as far as you can, it'll get through it, but it's going to look like a charred mess. Here, I'll show you a picture of that. It's not something I would do. Yes, I did do it because I was cutting a hole for my air to go out, vent out the back of my kitchen. And what better way to cut a hole like that than with a laser? It's the same material I used to cut the top of the table I just built for the laser. And that's one of the things that I wanted to tell you with this laser, or any high-speed laser, something that will go. This will go 30,000 millimeters per minute. So that's really fast for a diode laser, but a lot of them may go that fast, but it's going to be all jiggly. This one, I'm consistently running at 30,000 millimeters per minute when I'm doing my engraving. You're not getting any jiggly lines. You're not getting any of that stuff that I would get on another laser. But it will wiggle your table, and then it will destroy your project, because just that force of the table moving back and forth is just going to mess everything up. And so what I had to do, I built my own table just so that it would be super solid. But that's something I would advise you all, if you're having, on any of your lasers, you're running something like 5 to 15,000 millimeters per minute, and you're seeing your table moving back and forth. Well, that may be the cause of some of your issues of it not looking perfect. So think about that. This does have the auto air and light burn, which has been super useful for making things, but the cross came out just absolutely gorgeous. I know that I can do that 100 times out of 100. It's going to look exactly the same, and I'm not going to waste any wood. As you can see, I'm working on some other projects. I came up with this is fine file. I just thought it would look really cool as a campfire. The stand. I got into making stands now because of the cross. And I'm like, wow, it would look kind of cool if I made the stand look like 2 logs. And then, have a campfire and then have him in the middle that says this is fine. It may be really dumb. It may be something everybody loves. I have no idea. But that's the fun of lasers, isn't it? It's just like, let's see, I have an idea and I'm just going to make it. And isn't that what it's all about? And I do that all the time. That's how my wooden purses came around, right? I saw that you could bend wood using a laser, and I was like, wow, I can make a wooden purse, and boom, this is one of the first things I made, just because it's like, oh, I want to do it, so I just did it. And there's been many things like that. And with that particular file for the purse, it's, even though I've gone through 50, 100 iterations of it, it's still difficult, even on a 100-watt diode laser, to get consistent. So this is a laser I would feel very comfortable making that on, because I know it's going to be consistent. And again, this walnut plywood is not cheap. And so you don't want to be messing around. All right, enough about that. So basically what I wanted to say is 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, 16th inch, whatever, most all materials. Acrylic, I'm going to do a full video about acrylic and using this machine. But I did one on diode laser acrylic and stuff from Craft Closet, but you know, you can get it from a lot of different places. Is amazing, and you can do just about anything out of acrylic these days. I do have some clear, so I'm going to destroy some of that just to show what can and can't be done. But there are some translucent acrylics now that you can use, so I'm going to try to go over all of that. I'm going to be making rubber stamps. I'm going to be, of course, doing my leather and making the wallets on the LaserMATIC mk2. So basically, I'm going to do all of the things that I do to sell. And those are, if you're going to be doing something thicker than 8 millimeters, because I'm talking, you know, I showed you that I'm doing walnut, 2-sided plywood at 6 millimeters, and it's cutting it perfect. And probably about 350 millimeters per minute at 100% power. I do it a little bit lower, like 320, just because I know it's going to work. And I, you know, I'm not one to take any chances on that stuff, and it looks clean on both sides. But if you're going beyond, say, 8 millimeter plywood, I don't know if a diode laser is really going to be super consistent for you. Once we get up to, you know, once we get above 50 watts, I think we're going to start seeing the ability to do those thicker woods consistently. But I would say 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit bigger, is about right. Now, say you want to do something thicker. Well, what you would do is just make 2 of them and glue them together. This is what I often do. It's actually a better idea a lot of times. Like the roses that I showed you, you make an MDF version and then you make a wood version. You glue one on top of the other. I do that with coasters all the time because MDF is generally perfectly flat. So it's a good medium to glue something to make sure that it's flat. It also has a softer bottom to where you could just, you know, right away you could sell it just like that. I often will put some felt below it or something, but just think about that you can, you know, make 2 layers and glue them together. And it often works if you want to make something that's like a 1/2 inch or something. But the hole came out, you know, it didn't take too much. It didn't take too much getting rid of the char or whatever. You know, it's working right now. I could probably show you a picture. And that was the best way, rather than trying to get a drill or something and then cut the thing out, or, you know, lasers are great for some things. So let's get on to the engraving. Now, if you watch this channel, which I hope you do, like and subscribe, you know that I am not huge into engraving. I'm not that great at it. I enjoy it, but it's just not something that I like cutting things out. It's just where my brain goes. But I was reviewing this enclosure. You can check out my videos and check that out. And they sent me some scratch acrylic, and that was really fun. And I did all kinds of... I have this file. Now, I'm not really into the macabre. I think that's the right word to use for it. Or the, you know, skeletons and things like that. I'm sure a lot of people out there are. But this file seemed really, really good to show people engraving. It has a lot of detail to it. And since I'm not very good at it, I would at least be able to tell if I was doing it correctly. And so this scratch acrylic, it gives you this kind of antique look. And I thought that was pretty cool. And actually, Roly had sent me out, you know, some of these business cards. So I did those, and it engraved fantastic. But the question I think most people are wondering is, what's the difference between the 10 watt and the 30 watt when it comes to engraving? And I'll be real. I didn't think there was going to be a difference whatsoever. I almost never wanted to even switch that 10 watt. It seemed like a pain in the butt because then you got to figure out your settings again, right? And so I'm going to have two sets of settings, one for the 10 watt, one for the 30 watt. So I probably won't do it that often because I don't do a lot of engraving. But yes, it does make a difference. And here, let's see if I can put that together. Yeah, I'll show you guys pictures, but it isn't a ton of difference, but you can tell the difference. Like if I look at the A in each one of these, I could tell that the A that was done with the 10 watt, just a little bit crisper than the one that was done with the 30 watt. Now, I know it's difficult because how do you get the settings exact so they look exact? I got it pretty close. And I'm sure I could show you pictures of that, but it does look, no matter which one, lighter or darker, or however I did it, the A or some of the details on the 10 watt do look better than they do on the 30 watt. So there you go. It isn't a ton of difference, but if you are looking for perfection when it comes to engraving, you have that option of using the 10 watt. And perhaps if I get better at this, then I will eventually start using the 10 watt part more when it comes to engraving. But I really did enjoy it. Really had a good time. And yeah, I made mistakes. I don't do the testing, I guess, like a lot of other people do, with the full card. I used to. With the full card of like, here's the power, here's the testing and engraving, and, here's the cutting. I just haven't found myself really doing that much. I guess when you get used to using lasers, you kind of get an idea, okay, it's going to be in this range. So I would just run tests in those ranges to see which one was perfect. And for the most part, that works out for me. When it comes to engraving, I'm using a lot of materials that I've never used before. So I suppose I should do those types of tests. But, I think they came out pretty good. But hey, a lot of you out there are going to know way more than me when it comes to engraving. So please leave any comments. Let me know, what I should do. Is there any videos out there you would suggest for the people viewing the channel that I can post in a future video showing you how to do engraving through Lightburn, and that you really felt like, okay, I learned something from this video and now I'm way better at it and it's worked for me? Not just this is a cool video, it seems like a great teacher. No, I have actually put this into practice and it works in practice for me. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. That's what I do on this channel. I try to show you what I actually do, not, what seems like it would work or worked one time, or maybe work in these theories on these cards and these tests. But how does it work in real life? How does it work if you actually have a business, or, you actually want to consistently make things? Because the important thing to me is the idea. I mean, that's why I love lasers. It's not because of the technology or anything else. I mean, it really came because I felt like lasers are something that you can come up with an idea, and by the end of the day, you have that idea and you've made it. And that's really fun for me. And I would imagine other people feel the same way. Let me know. I mean, are you in agreement? I mean, what is it? I want to be able to speak to you and help you on your journey with lasers. What is that journey? I mean, is it like mine, or what interests you in lasers, and so that I can help facilitate that? And for me, this machine is the perfect one for doing that, but it may not be for you until I understand, like, what are you looking for? And what is y'all's budgets out there? Like, what should I be looking for price-wise that fits what you were looking for? Are you looking for a machine that's all in one? Things like that. Do you just want power? But I mean, what do you want that power for? So I go on and on. I know this is a testing video, but hey, I've done the testing. It does exactly what I want it to do, and it's consistent. And those are the things that I look for. So how do I explain what it is that you're looking for unless you let me know. So I will appreciate that. I just be kind in the comments. I don't mind to getting criticism and tell me, hey, do this better, do that better. Just, realize this is something I do because I love doing it. And so if you're going to, be rude or whatever, well, it's going to make it less fun for me doing it, and I'm not going to want to do it less. So I probably won't deal with you. But constructive criticism is always great, letting me know what it is that you want. I'm running on a lot, but I don't know. I felt like just having a conversation. And when it comes to testing, there's really just not a lot to say. It just works. And I'm very happy to have this laser, and I appreciate it. Link down below, of course, if you decide you want to get it. And if you do, let me know what you need to learn. I mean, I'm going to do the videos I told you about all these materials, but I'm also going to show you how to, clean the lens and other things like that. So I need to calibrate the camera. I'm very interested in using the camera, but I do need to calibrate it. So that's some things we're gonna do. Anyway, I hope you learned something in this video. I really try to do my best to show you. And I will see you in the next one. Love y'all.